Greetings, all, and welcome to the 1-6 Scale Man proudly presents. You know what day it is. Comic book talk with friends, as always. Thank you guys for being here and being patient. We started a little bit later because, like I said, the streaming wars tonight, everything got kind of congested, so we kind of had to modify and move around just to make some space for it. So if you are watching tonight, thank you for basically being here, man. I'm so glad. Tonight is the spoiler discussion for, you know what time it is. The Batman is going down tonight. Like, seriously, no holds bars. We're going to have this discussion. There's going to be opinions, but at the same time, it's welcome. But of course, you know I can't do this now. Here I want to say off the top, this is spoiler discussion. Full-on spoiler discussion. So, again, if you're here, then you're obviously here for good reasons, and you've seen it. If you're here, you haven't seen it, you have time to bail out now, but this is full-on spoiler discussion. So, again, thank you for basically being here. But without further ado, I'm going to bring in a panel of excellence that, you know, always occupies the space here. We got everybody here. What's going on with y'all, fellas?
What's good? How's everybody feeling tonight?
What's going on?
Good, good, good. You know what time it is, man. We ready to go. We're ready to dive in, man. Vinny, what's going on, man? How was your day, brother?
Good day. Just not quite back to work this week. I took care of some estimates and some customer calls, so next week will be back to the grind.
Yep.
So I've been just finishing up working on some end of the season art projects. I got this big intricate piece that I'm going in on now that's taking forever, but hopefully it'll be worth all the labor. And so I'm anxious to get that finished up with. And other than that, just, chilling.
Yeah. It's always good to chill, bro. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yes, indeed.
Chilling and relaxing. That's what time it is, man. So glad you're here, brother.
Glad to be here.
My man, Jedi Kid, bro. What's going on with you, bro?
Nothing, man. Good day. I'm getting rid of some of my doubles of my old Star Wars sideshow stuff. I got a couple guys that want to buy some of my older pieces. So I got a couple of boxes everywhere. I had to dig in the crates to get them out. So about to get rid of that and just getting ready for this long week.
Yeah, definitely, bro.
That's it.
Definitely. Long week. It is.
Long week, bro. Long week this week.
Long week.
Got so much stuff I got to get done, but it'll get done.
Yeah, me too, bro. Definitely got so much stuff to get done. But anyway, man, hey, the party without you here, so thank you for being a part of this tonight.
No doubt.
So, my man, Butt Naked, Brendan, what's going on with you, brother?
It's been a fun week, man.
Yeah.
I just want to say right off the top, Vinny and I did not coordinate outfits or anything. It's not the bearded bald guys both wearing white shirt with red stripe.
I just noticed that.
I had to wear this today, even though it's Batman Day today, because I got me some new Daredevil shirts from Heroes and Villains.
That's dope.
Love this piece.
Yeah, it's sketch variant shirt day.
Yeah, y'all boys is funny, bro.
Dude, so
Brendan always.
Yeah.
But no, man, it's been a good week. I had saw Batman Thursday at 3, and then I had to drive down to Jersey Friday morning. I was down there for a whole weekend for a wedding. Went to after party for the wedding. There was a big bar fight that broke out, so that was fun.
What the hell? You probably started it.
It's Jersey. No, I was innocent this whole day. Honestly, I really was. But yeah, so that happened. And then got back, and I've just been reading comic books. And especially like last week's releases, which we can talk about maybe a little at the end of the show or something. But definitely some highs. And unfortunately, some lows. I was really disappointed with how that What If Miles Morales started off. I was very, very disappointed. But, doing that. And then I binged the hell out of, in the last week or so, 5 movies in this series, these Japanese movies, Rurouni Kenshin, that are, there are 2 films. There's basically a prequel, and then there's the final film in the series. They're both on Netflix. But the original 3 films, the first one came out in 2012, Those are on Amazon that you can rent or buy them on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And so I watched those 3, and then I got to Netflix and watched the prequel, and then watched the final one that takes place at the end.
That's cool.
The sword fights in this
Yeah.
it's crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys got to check out VTS. I sent Lael's pictures like last week too. VTS Toys is doing this character from this movie. They're doing 2 versions of him, and So Toys is actually coming out with one too.
Oh shit!
The VTS Toys one, they've got a regular and a battle damage. The battle damage comes with this LED fire like light up base, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the forearms that are crazy. It's not articulated wrist. There's no joint. It's swappable forearms, so it actually goes all the way up. So the paintwork and the sculpting, the blood and stuff on the arm, you see the wrist bone and the veins in
What?
this because they give you 8 different swappable arms to put in.
Word.
Right, so you never see
Oh,
a
that's
wrist
dope.
peg, you never see any joint there and stuff. It's got like blood speckled all over the blade, and it's a cool design because the whole thing is he uses a reverse blade, so because like the sharp edge is facing him because he's taking a vow not to kill anybody after he already killed so many people. It's
Yeah.
like crazy design. Definitely, if you're a 6-scale collector, check out VTS Toys. I think they call him Kenshi, but it's from the movie. His name is Kenshin.
Oh
But
snap!
it's awesome. So I binged the hell out of all 5 of those movies. Pre-ordered that figure because it's absolute fire. And yeah, that was my week.
Okay.
So the whole
That
arm
sound
comes
like a
out,
full
bro.
week.
The up to the forearm, right up to the elbow. So
That's
it
smart.
comes
That's
in
smart,
at the
bro.
elbow, and then his sleeves they're kind of baggy and stuff, and they like go. They cover the elbow, but you still see pretty much the whole forearm. So you don't
That's
see
dope.
any joint at all.
Yeah.
Nothing in the wrist because it's sculpted, and then the elbow joint is covered by the sleeve. Thing is absolutely gorgeous. If they don't have them on every channel like site like Pop Collectibles and stuff and Toys Wonderland, Comics, they don't have those there, but they do have them on 1/6 Kit and 1/6 Outfitters. So if you go on
Okay,
there and you
bet.
just search like Kenshi,
Yeah.
you'll find them. They'll blow you away.
That's
Definitely,
dope.
man. All right. So I'm gonna have to check that out. Definitely, man. So again, thanks everybody for being here. Let me address the chat real quick. Everybody out there, thank you for being on board. JP Noble, thank you for being here. The Thor 2941, thank you for being here. My guy, Mark 7 all day, thank you for being in the building. Toy
Mark?
Box Loco Lou, my guy, Figure Flex partner, Vibes. We got SpongeBob Square Balls in the building. We got Latoya T Baby. Thank you for coming through as always. Who else we got? Malika Mabane. Thank you for being here, man. Philip the Fool. We got Andrew Gibo is here. Thank you for being here as always. Let's see here. The Ben Cave is in the building. Thank you for being here. Tobar. Sarah Clark Rue. Thank you for being here. Hector V. Thank you for being here. Ray C. We got Benny Heim in the building. Universal Key. Thank you for being here. Who else we got? Luminara, who is going to be on Figure Flex Friday. Finally.
Oh, the
Thank
queen.
you for basically being here. You know what I mean? The one who sponsored it all. Renz Talentino, my guy, Artist Supreme, him and Vinny, they got a little symbiote. They got like a little, thing going on there. Amber May, thank you for
Amber?
being here. Hector V, thank you for being here. We got Joe Augustine, thank you for being in the building. Xander, Primetime Reviews, Takathri, Renz Talentino, Efron Guzman, who I did a podcast with earlier today. Thank you for having me on the show. Yes, it's a party, partner. It's always good to be here with everybody, man. I'm so excited. But yeah, we're going to dive in, man, because quite the weekend. Last week, the Batman dropped. And it's a lot to basically talk about, when it comes to that movie. And like I said, we're going to definitely have a roundup. Again, I'm just going to tell everybody out there, this is a full-on spoiler discussion. So if you ain't supposed to be here, you want to get out while you can. We are giving you time to do so. We warned you. But if you're here, then that means you've actually seen it. So we're going to dive in. So I'm going to go straight off the top, okay? So everybody out there listening, I just want you to know I'm going straight off the top. I enjoyed the film. I enjoyed it. Loved it. Was it the greatest film? No, I'm not gonna say it was, but it was good for what it was. Cinematography was on point. The Easter eggs that were tossed around in there were great. I mean, you had to go back to see a couple of them that you probably missed. That chase scene with the Batmobile was on point. I love that.
Told you.
And I love the suit. I definitely love the suit. I even actually loved the Bat Cycle. I'm starting with everything that I loved. I loved Zoe Kravitz's portrayal of Selena Kyle. She killed it. She nailed it. She was basically one of my MVPs.
She was great.
I thought that Pattinson, did what he could with Batman. I think he nailed it for what he gave us. I think he gave us basically that detective, gloomy rendition of what we wanted to see. So, he did his thing. I love the suit. Definitely love that suit. I think that Colin Farrell as the Penguin was on point. He was definitely on point. So I loved him. Jeffrey Wright as Gordon.
Right.
Lieutenant Gordon was on point. Literally, I loved his chemistry between him and Robert Pattinson. So definitely loved that. Let me see what else I liked, and I'll basically say I liked the Riddler. I did like the Riddler. The only thing at some points I thought it felt a little bit over the top. I felt as though he could have did without the yelling portions of it at certain points, but I got what they were going for. But it was basically a bit over the top. And like I said, the cinematography, they nailed it. Like this, I loved the soundtrack. The soundtrack was on point. Like, how it complemented the score, how it complemented each individual scene from, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Loved it. It was on point. Now, those are the things that I loved. I'm going to tell you about the things that I were not disappointed in, but I thought they could have done without. I thought that, yes, they had a story to tell, and I get that. Did the story almost have to last 3 hours? No. It could have been cut. It could have been cut down to about 2.5 hours. To me, in my opinion, that would have been enough. But I understand that at most points they have to tell the story. It's his narrative. And the thing is, Matt Reeves did an excellent job with being able to have a platform to tell his story. I get that. But my only thing at that point is the simple fact that, when us, the viewers, are watching the film, it's like there were some issues with cohesiveness actually going from Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. In my opinion, some of the things felt, some of the scenes felt disjointed. Some of the scenes went on too long, longer than what it had to. And I was slightly disappointed at the end, even though I respect the results and I followed the narrative to know where it was going. And that there needed to be a transition. We needed to basically see growth. And that's what we basically saw. We saw growth when he made the decision, to save the people of Gotham, to put his life on the line to do so. And he felt as though he needed to change. So I think that's what it was. It was a push to change. And we saw that he was no longer selfish. He became selfless. It was no longer about revenge. He had to set that aside. And we're seeing the progression of, we saw Batman, but we started seeing the progression of Bruce Wayne. So this is what we're actually seeing. And mind you, this was year 2, so we have to understand where they were going with it. So, but other than that, those were just some of the things that, it was just the pacing. There were some pacing issues. I mean, literally, I'm not going to lie. When I saw it the first time at the Regal, I was fighting to stay up the first act. I was really fighting to keep my eyes open. It was tough to get through. But once I watched it the second time at the proper theater with the proper screen, sound was on point, I dug it. And I was like, okay, I'm all in. I'm good. I see it. That bat suit I fell in love with. It was the first suit that provided the movement that I wanted to see without restraints, without it being restricted. I loved it. I love that suit, and it was a rendition taken straight from the comics. It was partially a rendition taken from the comics, so they did a good job with that. But yeah, I was all on board. But to me, Selena Kyle, Zoe Kravitz stole the show. Like literally, she did for me because I loved that battle in between. Like her dealing with the loss of a friend, her dealing with the emotions for Bruce or Batman, who she know, but also wanting revenge. You know, and the things that I kind of tied together, that I linked together, was the simple fact that her, the Riddler, of course, and Bruce Wayne all were orphans in a sense. If you look at it, they were all orphans, so they had a story to tell. So that that dichotomy, that juxtaposition, kind of linked them all, and I got that, and that's what I love. I love Matt Reeves' approach and how dark this was. You know what I mean? It wasn't like sunshine and rainbows. I loved it. It put me in the mind of both Seven, and also that I was watching a Blade Runner film. That's what it felt like. And I love that. I love the chemistry I got with that. But yes, that's mainly how I felt about it. My daughter, I was so proud of my baby girl because she watched it. She did. I was sitting up there dozing, but my daughter watched and soaked it in the whole way through. The whole way through. She was soaking it in. She took it all in. And it's to have that discussion. Enjoy. I mean, come on, when you enjoy comic book films with your daughter, or with your child,
that's great.
with your kid, it's the best thing in the world, man. And to be able to actually enjoy that with my 22-year-old, it was the price of admission for me. You know what I mean? So I can't wait. She can't wait until Doctor Strange. She can't wait for Morbius. She's all in. That's my baby girl. So proud. I brought her up and taught her well. But anyway, that's my personal view of it so far. That's what I basically got. Vinny, I know you had some opinions about the film as well, man.
Yeah.
How did you feel, bro?
Well, I haven't got the opportunity to see it twice. A second viewing at a better theater or at home with my proper setup would be ideal for fixing some of the audio issues I had. I felt it was a good movie. It had a lot of strengths and a lot of things that I've always wanted to see. One of the things that I don't hear get enough love is the narration. And as comic book readers, it's one of the things that we very rarely see transition to film. And that is, we usually hear what's going on in our protagonist's head as he's going about his day. And we get to see or hear Pattinson, narrate this film, and it kind of movie starts off like you're reading the beginning of a comic, which is incredible. So that was a big plus for me. And then of course we basically start off with him in a detective setting, which anybody who's listened to me rant about Batman for the past 30 years 40 years has heard me complain a million times about how we always see just Batman just punching his way out of every problem for the most part on screen, and we very rarely get to see him working a case or a crime scene, and we got to see that and right there and on the screen. That was incredible. I really loved that. It was great because there was still that tension there because he's not quite Commissioner Gordon yet, so the cops aren't completely out of Batman's way. It's a lot of tension about whether or not he's allowed to even be there. That part was phenomenal. I loved him, answering questions and noticing clues other people wanted. I also don't see enough credit given to the contact lens tech, because any other cop or detective is going to have pictures and notes and be able to double check the evidence room and have all that stuff on board. But like Batman doesn't always have access to all that, and the contact lens technology is a great plot device to work around him being able to reference anything that he needed to double back and oh wait, there was that thing on the floor, and then he can't just go down to the evidence room like he could if he was in the police station. Thought that was incredible. I absolutely agree about Selena Kyle. She killed it. That was definitely the MVP of the movie. She was phenomenal, and Colin Farrell just killed it as Penguin. I loved DeVito's Penguin, but it was a bit much, I guess, probably for the average person. It was, but Colin's take on it was just incredible. I really dug the Batmobile. The chasing was great. I didn't love the the flatbed just coming out of nowhere, being able to get him but the audio for that, I'm sure, is incredible. There were some technical things that was silly in certain parts of the film that took me out of it. In some scenes, like escaping the police station and then the bubble gliding suit and correct thing.
Squirrel
there was
suit.
some it was the squirrel suit was a little it just didn't quite fit. It was a little silly. There was parts of that kind of like were like little hiccups and otherwise very purposefully done, tonally direct scenes that were very very well done. And then there was just moments that were kind of like a bit off, just a bit off decisions. Gordon was, did an amazing job as Gordon. And I wasn't thrilled with the writing for Alfred. Like Serkis did a great job as Alfred, but some of the writing, some of the decisions, opening up a package that basically had a stamp on it saying, oh, "Trust me, I'm not a bomb," that wasn't that great. I didn't like the dynamic that was there between Bruce. It just didn't feel like it made sense. I know it's year 2, it's early, but I don't also want to like use that as a crutch for everything that I don't like. It's just, oh, it's year 2, it'll get better, because you could say that about anything. But Pattinson did great as Batman. His Batman is super believable. And I was very impressed by how, he handled it, and the physicality of the scenes hid what he's lacking in physicality as an actor. So that was something that you could only complain about until you see how they hide it. Just like Tom Cruise never looks as short as he is in real life on screen because they hide it. So it's one of those things where you wouldn't think of this person for this role, but it's a matter of I'm going to complain until I see if they do a good job at hiding it, and they did a pretty good job at hiding it. I did hate his Bruce Wayne though. His Bruce Wayne is really annoying. Just seemed really out of character for Bruce Wayne. And again, it's early, and I understand that part of this film was him getting to a place where he realized that he has to also be Bruce Wayne and not just vengeance. But until we get there, it's very frustrating to see him yelling at Alfred that he's not his dad, blowing off all the Wayne Tech stuff, and it's kind of like Superman in Man of Steel, not realizing how important it is to be Clark Kent also, when we have spent so many years seeing that balance and then seeing a creative decision to not have that balance. It's a little off-putting. So I look forward to seeing them get to the point where there is that balance, because that's so much of what that character brings to the table. I also was really annoyed by the Riddler. I felt like that was just over the top to the point where it really took me out of the movie a lot, because it's very frustrating, because until he's talking with Batman, all the stuff he's doing is incredible. All that Zodiac stuff, all the killing, all the plan is incredible. All the YouTube stuff and all the incel stuff, it's like really smart take on him. And then Paul Dano comes in there thinking that he has to be Joker and one-on-ones with him, and the squealing and the high-pitched stuff, it just seemed really silly and really like ridiculous. It almost like it was a parody or something. It took me out of the film every time he was on screen. That was probably the least favorite thing about this film. I love that his plan worked for all intents and purposes. We're almost at like a no man's land situation in Gotham right now, where the city's screwed, and they're gonna have to figure out what to do about it. I wish it would look more like Gotham than New York City a little bit, but that's a nitpick. I really dug the cinematography, the music, the score, a lot of those choices that made. It was just every step of the way there was just like something that just was a little off, that I wish that was like a little bit more polished. And definitely there was plenty of scenes that just went on a bit way too long, where they were going for artsy comic book film, and sometimes it worked, but a lot of times it didn't. And like most people, who have an issue with the time, it didn't need to be like way shorter, but a 2.5 hour
Mm-hmm.
film, I feel like would have been incredible. And if you made this film 2.5 hours and you toned down Paul Dano's like acting, I feel like this I would have enjoyed this a lot better. I also really disagree with the decision about the Venom amp up. I felt that was just a bit ridiculous. Of course I get it, but I wish there would have been a little bit more brutality in that scene too. If he's venomed up and beating the crap out of someone's face, when he took it off, he should have looked like Jared Leto in Fight Club after that, instead of having no damage to his face whatsoever. Little things like that are, if those are the worst that I could come up with this film, it's like then there's so much potential for them to like shore those things up and going forward give us like some really great things going forward in the sequels, which obviously there will be at least one or two more of. I would have also liked maybe a couple more like wow moments. There wasn't anything that really like maybe grabbed my friends beside me like, yo, did you see that? Like there wasn't really anything like that. It was very tonally driven as opposed to anything that was supposed to really grab you. Like there was no, like bat pod moment or anything like that. That was like, oh my God, I've never seen anything like it before. But I definitely liked it enough that I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the next take. I just wasn't completely blown away like I wish I would have been, but it was good, so that's my take on my first one.
Got you. Bucky Naked. I know you, like I said, just listen, I know you loved it, you did like it. So what you feel, bro? How you feel about it, man?
I mean, I'm probably the guy in this panel who liked it the most. Like, I was super, super, super high on this movie. It definitely has flaws. It is by no means perfect. There are some pretty glaring plot holes. Like, for one, when the city is flooding, maybe don't take everybody to a stadium where it's a hockey stadium and you actually go downstairs below ground level to the rink. Because, like, maybe
you go upstairs, maybe.
So maybe that was a pretty stupid thing. So yes, I do agree there are some issues there. I think another kind of drawback for me was that essentially the Riddler is taken out of the last act in a manner of speaking as a threat. Like he's in prison. And now, like, all these other guys are up there sniping and stuff like that. So, yeah, Batman there's still action. There's still a threat. But the main bad guy is no longer the main threat to him at that point. So, there are some things like that I wasn't a huge fan of. To touch briefly on something that Vinny mentioned, I don't know. I know a lot of people, including Vinny, mentioned it as like thinking that he, injected venom.
I was a joke. It's probably just adrenaline, right?
This adrenaline.
But a lot of people have been talking about that. I think it was probably just adrenaline. But
yeah, it wasn't.
I think
it would be out of character.
I was just kidding about it being venom.
Yeah, it would be. Well, but a lot of people are talking about it.
Yeah, they're saying that it's venom online. Like it's crazy.
It
no,
seems
it's
to
adrenaline.
me it would be out of character for him to do that.
Yeah.
But
before you see
maybe
Bane,
he did. I don't know. I think
But
it's more likely going to prove to be adrenaline, but it did look green. It did so. Maybe they wanted to kind of tease it and make it so that we don't know.
Yeah.
Well, adrenaline is like clear, brownish green anyway. So
yeah, but it's movies. They can make it whatever. They can
yeah.
Piss yellow if they want. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But in any event, yeah. So I agree with a lot of what you guys have already said. I mean, Zoe Kravitz, that woman is just like beauty personified, and she has the acting chops to match. And man, I cannot wait to see more of her as Selena Kyle. I think this movie had a lot of what it definitely had a lot of what I wanted. It had there were funny moments. There was some comic book humor injected into it. The thumb drive. Comes to mind immediately. Like
yeah, that was funny as shit.
I like that. It wasn't over the top, ridiculous funny. It was enough that it was like some good humor injected into an otherwise serious movie.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we all loved Colin Farrell as Penguin.
Yeah.
He
Oh
helped
yeah.
introduce some levity, like, you know, what is this, good cop, batshit cop, like, you know, stuff like that. Again, not over
Yeah.
the top, but it gives you a chuckle and
Yeah.
keeps you in. Uh, the car chase, loved it. It was pretty ridiculous that no airbags go off in that thing. It flips 75
I'm not.
times,
I'm
and
glad when
Colin
they won.
Farrell
Right.
is just totally fine. Like, I mean, give him a limp after. Well, he already had a limp. Give him a worse limp after that. Like give him a scratch on his nose. I don't know, but it was
Yeah.
like really, he didn't even have like a whiplash, nothing. You know,
Nothing. Yeah.
that was absurd. But I absolutely love it. We've mentioned it before, but one of the things that I was going in the most with this to be able to looking forward to seeing was the cinematography and what Greg Fraser, who's
Greg
probably
Fraser
my
killed
favorite
it.
cinematographer working
Yeah, he
today,
did.
who
He
did
did.
Dune, who did Rogue One. This guy is just a master, and he nailed it. And he did things that I think a lot of people aren't even going to realize it's why they liked certain elements of this movie until they come to know after the fact.
Yeah.
For example, if you go back and you pay attention to the shots in this movie, there are very few wide shots with multiple characters in. Okay, most of the time, what we're seeing, you know, like in the Nolan films, we had these like wide sweeping shots with, you know, like Batman on a rooftop on a skyscraper, or like, you know, there were very few shots, you know, there were like that. There were some wide shots, you know, like when he did the kind of squirrel suit and then crashed, which, I mean, come on, he would have been dead, especially
He would have been dead,
Pattinson's
bro.
body.
He'd have been
That was,
dead.
that,
In
that scene was tough.
Pattinson's body,
Listen.
he would have been broken in half and dead. So
Yeah.
we all know that that was a little ridiculous. But again,
Yeah.
comic book movie,
Yeah.
we can move on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
all of the the vast majority of this film are shot on long lenses, and when you shoot on, and I mean like you're looking at like 85, 135 millimeter or longer lenses, what that does is essentially it compresses the background, meaning that you see less of the background and it makes him look further from the background and it's out of focus. But what that also does is it pulls everything in, so it's a really tight shot, and it gives that sense of like when you're very, very tight in on a character who's trying to figure out a mystery, is trying to solve something, it makes it claustrophobic and a little bit uncomfortable. Like you don't know everything, and the things that you want to know are the things that you can't see that are just outside of the frame. So cinematography in this was absolutely amazing from the psychological perspective of how you're watching a movie and how you're taking in information. But it was also beautiful from a comic book perspective. There were so many shots in this that looked like they were taking panels straight out of comic books.
Yeah.
The one that immediately comes to my mind is when Catwoman is descending from the roof, and she's framed with the skylight, or like the window, because it's not on the roof, but like the window there, and then the crime scene tape, and the camera is shooting through it, and it looks exactly like a comic book frame just taken straight out of a book, right?
Oh yeah.
There are so many shots in this movie where the cinematography does what it needs to do from a psychological perspective, but also is doing what it needs to do to pay homage to the comic book artists that we've all spent decades of our lives appreciating their work. So it was on that level, it was so good. I personally really enjoyed Paul Dano's version of the Riddler. I know some people don't like the kind of Zodiac style. Some people really love it. Some people, you know, I do think that like the riddles could have been a little bit harder, except for the one that was kind of stumping Batman for most
The
of it,
last
which
one.
was kind of like
Yeah.
really
You don't know that?
Like come on, come on. But like the other ones, he just got them so fast. It would have been, which is good to show his intelligence. But it would have been good if at some point he had to struggle a little bit more with some of them. But I really dug Paul Dano in this role. I think the scene when he was arrested and his face is pushed down and he's like opening his mouth and like but he's not actually saying anything. It was this just chilling, like psychotic look on his face that really sold this character. And I think Paul Dano did a really, really good job with that scene and how that was portrayed, so that you saw the psycho behind the mask. So it was like, yeah, you see the mask and it's cool. This guy's crazy. He's a serial killer. But then you see this nerdy looking middle-aged white or young white guy, you know, with glasses and stuff in a coffee shop, and he still sent chills down your spine with that look and that way. And you were like, oh yeah, this guy does some messed up shit. So I thought he sold that really, really well. And I think the biggest, maybe not downside, but the thing that doesn't elevate this is that this doesn't feel like an event story. This doesn't feel like a Long Halloween. This doesn't feel like a Death in the Family. You know what this feels like to me? This feels like absolutely a Detective Comics comic book, or absolutely a Batman issue, but it feels like one of the standalone issues that you get in between major story arcs when you're reading the books. Right? It's entertaining as hell, but it doesn't elevate to the level of the Long Halloween or Hush or something like that, right? Whereas I think the Dark Knight trilogy, like the Dark Knight specifically, I think did kind of elevate a little bit more, but that's also because you saw a lot more of Heath Ledger's Joker in that movie than you did Paul Dano's Riddler in this movie. And so Heath Ledger really just captivated you. That's not to say Paul Dano couldn't if he had more screen time in this, but it was just the way the character was working. This was much more, and like we said, you see Bruce Wayne for about 10% of this movie. All right? It is a Batman story, which is good, because I agree with what Vinny said. I was not a fan of the Bruce Wayne aspect of this. I was okay with him having some friction with Alfred, but that needed more attention. It needed to be explored more, and it couldn't be as simple as it ended up being, of like, well, him getting kind of duped by Falcone and then going and seeing Alfred, and then 3 minutes with Alfred, and now he realizes that Falcone was lying to him. It's like, don't be so gullible, and give a little bit more depth to that, because Alfreds are just historically criminally underutilized. Jeremy Irons was criminally underutilized in the Snyder movies, and in this, Andy Serkis could have given it so much more to that character. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot that we'll talk about as we go through, but overall, I absolutely love the hell out of this movie. I don't think it is the quintessential Batman movie. I don't think that's necessarily even been made yet, but I still hold this just below The Dark Knight, for the simple fact that I think Heath Ledger brought something to that role, because he was that villain who was really the driving force, whereas Paul Dano's character was, I think, the catalyst, but then it was really Batman that was going on a journey and kind of like getting better at what he does. And I just think that and as good as that was, I think it didn't have that X factor that compelled you more with Heath Ledger's performance. So for that reason, I still think, even though this absolutely trumps it in terms of the detective work, I think that The Dark Knight is still just above this, in my opinion, as far as a Batman movie, because of that performance by Heath Ledger.
Gotcha.
I agree.
Gotcha.
I agree.
Gotcha. I definitely agree. Before I get to you, Jedi Kid, I just want to shout out these super chats that we actually got. First off, we got Christopher Bouchard. Actually, I think we got one before him. I'll get to Christopher in a minute. We got the Thor 2941 $1.99. So did you like it, Vinny?
I don't know if he said that before I started talking or after, but I answered him like quickly in the comments. So.
Got you. So we did see that. Christopher Bouchard, $5 super chat. Thank you for that, brother. Hello, everyone. So my favorite solo in that new Batmobile is my favorite. It sounded like a monster. Yes, it did. And it was a brawler. That's what it was. Anybody was going in and thinking that you're going to see gadgets? Nah, that thing was a brawler. Like, that's just the way it was. Let's see here. We got Vic L. Gambino. with the $1.99. That's my Vic. Vic Pick in the building. Thank you for coming
we gotta
through,
get
bro.
Vic on too. Vic and
We
Mark.
definitely got to get Vic on one of these days, man. That's family, so definitely got to come
No
on,
doubt.
man. But
No doubt.
thanks for that. But Jedi Kid, man, yeah, like you, because this was basically your second time around and seeing it. Tell me about your feelings the first time you saw it, and then did they change or elevate the second time you saw it?
So the first time I watched it, I got to say, uh, listening to Vinny and Brendan talk about like cinematography and stuff like that, I got to really respect the camera angles and the colors, and then you got to remember that Gotham City is a character too in itself. So it was cool to see all the aspects of the shadows and how when the crooks were, even when my man robbed the store, he had the money and everything, he's about to go. He saw the alleyway and like, oh my God, I can't go that way. And got hit by a car trying to get away. You know, he was that scared. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So just the aspect of the city itself
Mm-hmm.
made me want to see it more because I was just paying attention to the city so much. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to make sure I saw everything the first time. So I went again. But after watching it, well, the first time I loved it. I mean, it was to me the first time it was no flaws, whatever. You know, because I didn't
Yeah.
pay no mind to the flaws. I just looked at the film for what it was, and
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
The second time I saw it though was when the frustrations began,
Okay.
and I got to realizing like, okay, well, the Riddler to me was a mix of Hush, you know, and the Zodiac Killer, and you know, I think it had aspects of Long Halloween, all rolled into one, and I don't think he really, I don't know. To me, the character the Riddler didn't even really find himself. To me, it was kind of frustrating watching
Mm-hmm.
him again, trying to, I guess, make his mark. Like I don't think he was trying to like do it purposely, but I think he was trying too hard. You know, with the excessive screaming in Arkham and all the oh you this. I was like, come on, dude. Like you're supposed to be the Riddler is a psycho. We all know that, but
Mm-hmm.
he's smart. He's
Yeah.
hit. He's he's witty. You know what I'm saying? He's not like just some nutcase. He's smart as hell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so for him to be acting that way, it turned me off from him a little bit. Um,
Come on, man. Yeah.
and I want to say like, well, I'm trying to put it into words. My favorite character, like I said, was Catwoman. I told y'all, like it took me years to get past Eartha Kitt being number one,
Yeah.
but not just from her being so fine, but the fact that she really put it down as a Catwoman. As when her acting range, I told you when you watched it, you was going just her feel for the character. Period, bro. Like she really
Yeah.
embodied a Catwoman, like a grounded Catwoman,
Yeah.
without all the gadgets and everything else. She had the little whip. Well, I think it's like a whip kind of rope thing, whatever. It was like universal tool for her or whatever. But like
Yeah.
without all the little gadgets and stuff like that, she was dope, bro. Like I
Yeah.
mean,
She was.
she really was a flawless rendition of the Catwoman character. And number two to me was definitely the Penguin. Like Colin Farrell, that boy, he just
Yeah.
was.
His range is incredible,
I
bro.
told y'all when you saw it. I told you you
Yeah.
don't even see Colin at all, bro. Like no,
Nah.
he's gone. He is the
Yeah.
Penguin, bro. Like when he
Yeah.
got that prosthetic on, it's a wrap. He's the
Yeah.
Penguin.
Yeah.
Um, Jim Gordon was perfect.
Yeah.
I know he got a lot of backlash, but I don't give a damn. Jim Gordon was perfect, and I'm a guy that likes to have comics be what they are on film. But listen, that man was perfect. He needs him and Batman's connection was flawless to me.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Now to get on Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is supposed to be the mask. Batman is supposed to be the real Bruce Wayne, right? So He didn't wear Bruce Wayne well at all, man. No wit, no charm. I know it's year 2. You lost your parents. I get that. You're this frigid knife that's gonna stab the heart of crime. I get all that. But you still got a company to run. You still, I mean, you and Alfred's connection was so he didn't like show no respect for Alfred till he almost died. To me, that's when he, I love you, Alfred, kind of, sort of. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm sorry, you've been there my whole life. What an idiot I was. Like, it took you that long to wake up that this man raised you, dude. Like, so some kind of compassion or something for the boy. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to help you out, say thank you, whatever. He doesn't wear the Bruce Wayne persona at all, and Bruce Wayne is really the mask. Batman is Batman, but his alter ego is just supposed to be the mask. So he's supposed to be not less not I don't want to say charlatan, but he's supposed to be like a playboy, a philanthropist, supposed to be out there doing this thing in Gotham City, whatever. But he's not. Even the mayor was like, "Yo, your parents were big time contributors to the city. Where you been? I've been calling you." You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never seen a Bruce Wayne like that before, bro. I would turn up by Bruce Wayne, but his Batman, he did a great job as Batman. The way that the narration reminded me of Long Halloween when it came to his cases and talking about the dates and stuff like that. I really like that part. Him talking about all the clues he found and how fast he was solving Riddler's riddles. But the last one, like, come on, bro, it's a bat. He's talking about you. Like, you going to Penguin, you're going to Falcone. Come on, dude. A Falcon, a Penguin. He's talking about a freaking bat, and you found the riddle in there in the case with a bat. Duh. Like that. That's why I'm like, yo, that was the last one. Everything else he did perfect. I mean, that's what we want as far as the detective side of Batman, to see his wits and his smarts. You want to see that, but the last one is the most obvious one, and you don't know it. That kind of bothered me a little bit. I mean, but his Batman was good, but you know how I feel about. I mean, Ben Affleck is still my Batman to me. They did a shot to Ben Affleck too, like the part when he was up in the roof, and the cop rode by. That was right out of freaking BVS.
Yeah.
So I mean that I like that rendition, and then the part about everybody saying that the adrenaline was venom. Come on, dude! Like, it's adrenaline. If you get shot with some adrenaline in your leg, which is one of the biggest parts of your body, your thigh, you will jump up like a Mad Hatter. Trust me, I've had it done. So
also,
you would jump up like brand new,
way more.
Right. When you on adrenaline like that. That dude's face, and it's only a leather mask. He should have been a bloody Pope.
Should have been hamburger meat.
Right.
You know what, though? Here's the thing I will say, though. We know it was adrenaline, but there was an issue where Bruce Wayne did use some of the venom from
in the comics.
as a healing agent.
Yeah, he was near death.
Yeah, it was just more so a healing agent. It wasn't something that was used as adrenaline. It was more so a healing agent. So I got where Matt Reeves was going with this. So he did pull some aspects of the book into this film. So, I basically get that. But here's the thing. This is what I want to actually say. So what I did was I went into this film the second time around and I stripped the comic the comic aspect of the film away. I stripped that all away. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what I went in, I went in as more so a detective thriller, murder mystery, just a film. I just went into it as an actual film. So it had every aspect. And then what I did was I started sprinkling comic aspects in certain moments to kind of really fill this film out. Here's what I want people to understand, because I know there's some things going on in that chat, and I say it, don't think I don't. And I know people basically have their comments, and that's fine. But you have to understand that all opinions, everything is subjective, and we're all allowed to actually have our opinions. So you just let it ride. It is what it is. I mean, not everybody is going to see a film the way most of you see it. You have your opinions. We on this panel have ours. So live with it or you don't. That's just mainly the way it is. I'm not asking you to basically, if you feel as though we're reaching, I'm sorry. It's just a simple fact that we have opinions based on source material, based on things that we have actually seen in books. Now, that can be, that can make or break a person. I'm not saying that it's a good thing, because us as comic book readers, us who basically read the source material, yes, we're going to go into certain films hypercritical, and we need to fall back from that. And we understand that. We definitely need to fall back. But you have to understand that everyone is going to have an opinion. All things subjective. That's just the way it is. Not everybody is going to actually agree, and you have to understand that. But with that basically being said, I went into this film the second time around, and I stripped the comic book aspect away and went into it like I was watching a fresh Seven film all over again. Just went from it from that actual aspect, because I wanted to really get down to the science and detective aspect of the film. But with that basically said,
but if you guys think
I still
we're reading
basically
too much
think
into stuff, this is the wrong stream for you, because
it's
that's
the
what
wrong
we're here to do.
Exactly.
Like,
if you think that we're reading into it, then maybe you want to find another stream. I'm sorry, because this is what we do, and I told you right off the top, this is what we were going to do. You knew that we were going to go in deep. Now, I'm not saying that everything and that your opinion does not matter, but I am still going to basically sit with the simple fact that, like you said, Enigma is a smart, intelligent individual. He is not a bumbling psychotic. Now, yes, he has a certain level of a nature of psych. And I know, look, everybody's going to bring their own interpretation. But when you're bringing interpretation, don't draw and try to complete off of something that compete with something that's already been done. Literally, it's like you're taking two characters that were already introduced in the cinematic universe who portrayed the same character, and you're taking elements from them and trying to make it your own. Like literally, if we've already seen that, give me something a little bit different. I just think that there were certain aspects of this guy who went over the top. Like I really, really believe he went over the top. Like
reaching, man,
a tad bit,
big time.
Again.
And I disagree, but I could see how Lael would think that. Like, I could see how somebody could look at it and be like, "That was for me. It was pitch perfect." But like, it is what it is. I can see how some, and we've both been reading comics for the majority of our lives, so we can still have two different opinions on this.
Exactly.
Like,
this is what we do.
Source material and from film.
This is what we do. Like basically, if you go to a film, if you go to a theater with me and Vinny, after we get out of a theater, we sit right outside for almost 3 hours dissecting this film, and we break it down, because this is basically what we do. All things are subjective, and you have to understand that. This is a place where we basically can talk, have a discussion, and opinions do matter. Just like we respect everybody out there, your opinion, respect our opinion at the same time. You have to understand that when we look at this film, we're looking, and I went into it looking at it from so many different vantage points. Literally, I went in looking at it from so many different vantage points. I looked at it from a comic book aspect. I looked at it, was the narrative going where I thought it should have gone, or where the director wanted it to go? Did it basically did the audience embrace the narrative? Was basically where the characters, was there enough time spent on each individual character to get the development that we wanted? Did the cinematography was it complementing also the score? Was everything working in sync? Did we get certain hints of what was promised, which was a detective film? If you actually, even if you sit down and listen to Matt Reeves himself, he said he was drawing off of Year Two. He was drawing off of the Long Halloween. He was drawing off of certain aspects of the films of these, but especially Hush, but also
Absolutely.
he was basically saying, he said exactly, and he also said that he wanted even certain aspects of the Batman Who Laughs. He wanted to actually draw certain things and just bring it in. So I'm looking at that, listening to what he says. I hear you, but I'm going into it saying, okay, cool. I want to see exactly what you said to me. Now, here's the thing. I agree. When it comes to Alfred, there wasn't enough time spent on him. However, I will say that scene that he had with Bruce in the hospital, I love that scene. And I'm going to tell
was
you
dope.
why I love the scene.
It
I
grounded his
loved it
ass.
because, number one, what he said literally almost in that theater broke me, because I know that's how my father felt. I know that's basically how my uncles felt when my father passed away. And they were like, look, you were searching for a father figure, and you needed a father figure, and all you had was me. All you had
Right.
was me. And I only did what I could. So I understood that aspect, and I like that. I wanted to see, and all we're saying is we're not taking away from the simple fact that, yes, we had Bruce Wayne. Yes, we had Alfred. Yes,
Yeah.
there were certain aspects. And here's the thing. Even the way Bruce acted, I had to understand the Bruce Wayne that we actually saw was still, no matter, he's a younger version of Bruce Wayne. And I get that.
Exactly.
He is still dealing with grief. He is still dealing with anger and frustration. So we're not going to get the $1 billion playboy that we want, because that's not where he's at right now. Again, at the end of the film, he did say I had to become something totally different. That's him making peace with the vengeance. That's him making peace with the anger and understand that I can't be selfish anymore. I have to be selfless. So now going forward, we're going to see the division between, yes, we have the Batman, but the persona is Bruce Wayne. We're going to see that, but this was just basically the beginning. So that aspect of it, I had to understand. And that's what I went in looking at. So again, all things subjective. I get what everybody else is saying, but me, myself, I go into films and I dissect every fucking thing that I see. Sorry, I don't mean to curse, but I'm just hyper right now. I go in and I dissect everything.
Year 2 is what? He's
down
like
to a
30 years
T.
old, right?
Yeah,
27?
so I
Yeah.
dissect
Leo, can I
everything to a
28?
T.
Can I jump
So
in
go
on,
ahead,
on
go
one
ahead.
thing that you actually, because the both of you mentioned? I think we all agree that we weren't in love with Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne in this.
Right.
Right. For one, like, why are we putting, whenever he's Bruce Wayne, why is he wearing clothes that are 3 sizes too big and making him look even smaller?
Bruh,
With,
I thought I was the
with,
only
the
one that saw
backpack
that,
and, like,
bro.
the jack, like,
Yes.
Yeah,
Wearing
that-
his like a Big Brother's hand-me-downs. And
I'm
his hair,
glad
like,
you
get a
pointed
haircut.
that out,
There's
bro.
that meme going around online
yes.
too, with like him and Ben Affleck wearing like the same outfit, and it looks so
Ben Affleck had him borrow his clothes.
Yeah.
As much as I wasn't a huge fan of his Bruce Wayne in this film, one thing that I do see in it is, and like you said, Jason, Batman is who he really is, and Bruce Wayne is the mask that he has to wear, right?
Right.
He's much more comfortable as Batman,
As Batman.
in this film than in Bruce Wayne's persona. And I think this movie is almost less about him learning how to be Batman,
learning how to be
and
Bruce,
more learning that he has to figure out how to wear the mask during the day. That is
The
Bruce
mask.
Wayne.
Exactly.
He's not trying to do that.
Yes,
in this
that's what
movie.
I'm talking about.
And that's another thing where I think, like, the marketing and the trailers and the whole I am vengeance thing, I think that was a little bit of a misdirect, because you remember, and like Vinny mentioned it a bunch of times in discussions leading up to this film's release, how he didn't want him to just be all angry and just going around and brutally hurt,
I was glad that wasn't the case.
And it wasn't. That was kind of a misdirect. I do think the I am vengeance line just didn't make sense at all in the movie, to be perfectly honest, because
I think it was misunderstood or misused.
But he was angry as Bruce Wayne. He was like, "Fuck that! I don't care about Wayne. Enterprises. I don't care about the business. I don't care about the facade of who I'm. I don't care if all the money goes away." His anger was more when he was Bruce Wayne, not when he was Batman. Batman, it was like, okay, he's kind of he's exercising those detective muscles and he's working that out and he's figuring out what's going on. But I think the whole anger and learning to let go of that and having to be something else was on the Bruce Wayne side of things. And so for that reason, I think I found myself having to give, even though I didn't like some of the choices they made, like the big baggy clothes and stuff like that. And I think the relationship with Alfred needed to be fleshed out much, much more. But I do think that when we look at it through the lens of he's still trying to learn how to wear the mask, but it's the mask of Bruce Wayne, and that's why maybe we're not really loving the Bruce Wayne that we get in this, aside from the other choices that we think they shouldn't have made. I think that's where we kind of gotta look at it like, this is not supposed to be a Bruce Wayne film. This is supposed to be Batman learning that he needs to wear that mask.
Yeah.
And that maybe we'll get a better version of what we think Bruce Wayne should be like in the next
But that's the
film.
hardest part of him being Batman is learning how to be Bruce Wayne.
Right, and he sucked at it in this.
And he sucks at it,
and we've
Yeah,
talked
yeah.
about in this in the past, where in year 2 he should still be an amazing detective. He still should be an amazing physical combatant. He shouldn't be learning the ropes of that necessarily. More just learning how to hone the different weapons that he has. But he should still be good at using that arsenal, and he was in this film. His biggest weakness was he didn't know how to be Bruce Wayne. That's where all the anger was tied up, right?
Yeah.
And he almost felt like freed when he was Batman.
And that's and also that's what angered also Alfred, is that you know how to be Batman, but there's times
don't know how
that
to
you
be
need
Bruce.
to know how to be Bruce Wayne.
And you don't even know it. You don't even
you
try
got
it.
these people coming around, and you're
Right.
going to lose everything because you're so focused on this aspect of it. But you have to be
He said
Bruce
he had
Wayne.
10 accountants coming to his house. 10 accountants.
Yeah.
And when
That means
he
they trying to
hates
audit your dumb ass. They're trying to
Yeah.
audit.
he hates every aspect of his life as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Alfred feels like he's failing, and Alfred
Yeah.
feels
Yeah.
like he just can't connect
Because
with
he's trying to still raise him, and you giving up your
Yeah.
whole family's everything from your family fought for and worked for. You just throwing it away because you want to be Batman. He understands that part of Bruce, but then Alfred's frustrated because, listen, dude, I raised you to take care of your family's legacy as well, not just for you to beat everybody's ass all over Gotham.
And he flat out said, "I don't give a shit about the legacy." Right?
Yeah,
So
and I was like,
and that hurt
damn, he really
Alfred.
told Alfred that. I was
And
like,
if they
wow.
explored that more, then that would have been
That's
it
what
would
I
have lent
wanted.
more depth.
I
to-
agree, Brendan.
And we all
Yeah,
agree
yeah.
they could have shaved a half hour
Yeah.
off of this movie. But if
Yeah.
you're gonna keep it at 3 hours,
Yeah.
shave a half hour, but then devote that extra time to the relationships that
Yeah.
are at the core
Now-
of
Yeah.
of Bruce Wayne.
Let
And
me
Exactly.
ask you.
like
Let me
with
ask
Alfred.
you, Brandon. So, do you think that they missed something right there at that particular part where they didn't even try to explore? Let Alfred explain, because they cut him off right when he said that to him. Alfred was like,
Yeah,
shook.
I think it was a missed opportunity.
You're
but I
right.
don't think it
I
was
agree.
entirely like a blunder or like not
Mhm.
an unknowing blunder. I think
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to save the relationship
For later.
future films.
Right.
But there's certain things that you can slow play and that you put off, and then there are others that it's like this needs more time now because because if something's gonna happen later, like Alfred almost dying, you know, and that's one of the things that sometimes it doesn't feel earned, and I don't think it felt fully earned. Where like right up until then, it didn't seem like he gave a shit about Alfred.
Yeah.
I bet you there's
you at
Alfred
least
scenes on the
have to
table.
show something
There probably
that's
are.
going to
There
make
probably
it
are.
hurt.
Because they
when-
never even check back in with him at the hospital at the end of the movie. Like, we don't
After
even know if
he-
he's okay.
Right.
And if you
Fuck
look
Alfred.
at the other Batman movies, even if they have criminally underused Alfred, which they have,
He's still a father
there
figure.
were
yeah.
still moments, there were still looks, there were
Mhm.
still lines of dialogues, there were still those small scenes that connected Ben Affleck and Jeremy Irons, that connected
Yeah,
Christian
yep.
Bale and Michael
Yep.
Caine, that connected
I agree.
Michael Keaton and I can't remember the actor's name who played Alfred in the originals.
Yeah.
You know what
yeah.
I mean? And we
Yeah.
we didn't get that. And that can be really frustrating when you have an actor the caliber of Andy Serkis, right? It's like use all the tools that you've got. You've assembled an amazing cast. You've got to learn how to use them all to their fullest. I feel like they used Selena Kyle. They used Zoe Kravitz the way they should. I felt like they used Colin Farrell brilliantly
Falcone. Yeah,
in,
Falcone.
in not going too far with him, but giving you just
Just
enough.
enough.
Because we know that that's going to be developed down the road. What they did with him, they didn't do with Andy Serkis as Alfred, and that for me, was disappointing. But and again, I think they made a mistake there. I think they were trying.
That's
to
why
do
I said
something,
like,
but I think they made the mistake. What I
Right.
will say, and I'm not saying this is for everybody. I'm not even saying this is for everybody on this panel. But I think in general, after having conversations with a lot of people about this, The hype was massive when we first came in, and then a lot of people I know that like saw it and were like, I liked it, but it could have been shorter. I don't think it surpasses Nolan. All that, I think what ends up, and obviously we can't not compare this to Nolan, right?
You got to, yeah.
But I think sometimes, and I think this might be an example of it, we have such high expectations. We are so like all in on something that we go to the theater, and something that would be normally maybe an 8 or 9 out of 10, we end up feeling like it's a 6 or a 7 because we were going in expecting a 15 out of 10.
That.
Right? We were just expecting it to be so goddamn good that even though it was really good, it didn't hit that, so it almost feels like it fell lower. But, and I'm not saying that happens with everybody. Sometimes it's happened with me. Sometimes it has. But I think that's where the benefit of those second and third viewings is important, because you start.
That's why I had to watch it again.
Gain appreciation for, and sometimes you might actually see more that bothers you. But like you gain appreciation for it, and that's the thing that like all of us here, we're gonna be watching this movie a lot. Right? Like, this is not like one viewing and then screw this. It's like we're gonna be watching it. We're gonna be picking it apart. There are movies that I enjoyed when I first watched it, but it was like, oh, okay. And then I watched it again and again, and I was like, God damn, wow, all right, this is a lot better than I really gave it credit for on the first viewing. Is there a question of like, okay, well, did the filmmaker really do their job if it took multiple viewings for you to really get into it or not? That's debatable. But ultimately, I think there's so much from this that we can all, appreciate. Like, again, Vinny, what you said earlier, the narration, and you said it too, Jason.
That was so cool.
That was great.
Yeah.
It felt like the first page of a Batman.
Long Halloween, bro.
Comic.
Straight up Long Halloween.
It
bro.
felt like, because, and we don't get that. The closest we've ever gotten was like Tobey Maguire doing some narration in the Spider-Man movies, but we all know how I feel about the Sam Raimi movies.
I know.
But you know what, like this felt like Batman has always had his very own style, only maybe mirrored somewhat by my man Daredevil. But in that like that noir style voiceover, not just the normal inner monologue we get from.
It's always been gritty voiceover.
Right.
I'm mad people are calling it the Rorschach style.
Hard-boiled.
No, that's a comic book style.
Rorschach. Come on.
People are saying, they did it like Rorschach. It's like, no.
Read a comic book.
It's a comic book style.
People are tripping, bro.
But that style, that voiceover kind of, or narration style that we get from, dude, that's back to like 1920s and 30s noir novel.
Forever ago.
Right. Mickey Spillane books and stuff like that.
Right.
And they did the, and then noir movies, black and whites in the 30s and 40s and stuff.
Because the way
it works perfectly for Batman because he is a noir character.
He's a noir character, right?
Protagonist,
right?
In a dark world, and that's how it works. So this is the first time I think they've really done that well. I mean,
they nailed that. They nailed that
comics.
on the head.
Real
I
quick.
love his voice too because it wasn't like a kind of thing.
Yeah.
Real quick.
It worked. It
real
was just,
quick.
They did it.
Let me address some of these super chats. I have Efren Guzman. Great content as always. Reboots are the trend for DC. Do you see Marvel doing this in the future, or do you think just recasting actors is the way? It's a good question. What you think, Vinny?
I hate
recasting.
bro.
Recasting is definitely the smarter move for Marvel because their universe is forward flowing with so many different moving parts, and DC has the unfortunate luxury of always being at a resting point where they can restart without sacrificing anything else because it's scrapped anyways. So they have the luxury of doing one shots and rebooting and recasting because the previous franchises are dead in the water, whereas Marvel is a forward, unstoppable, unmovable object. So for them to reboot Iron Man now would make zero sense. They would just simply bring in someone as Iron Man and just deal with that backlash because it would be a billion times less of a backlash if they start over with a new origin.
But see, what WB's president said yesterday drove me nuts about like, oh, well, now because we made success from the Batman, now you know why we don't have to connect these films anymore. I'm like, oh my God, bro! Exactly. Like this dude, bro. Like,
yeah.
Well,
and
if If you notice, this movie didn't have the normal like DC opening to it. Just had a
No,
red
dude.
DC.
That's what I'm saying.
Because they're going to
is
differentiate these
he
types
wants
of
to do
movies.
all. He wants all one shots, dude.
Well,
all
yeah,
else
they're gonna-
stuff, bro.
it's
Like
easier.
this guy's an asshole, dude.
I
Like
think I'm not
it's
saying
easier.
that's good, but I think he's also recognizing that. I mean, they suck at continuity.
Yeah.
So
That's what I was about to
We've
say.
right.
That's what I was about to say,
We've
yeah.
had this talk. We don't even want to open that box no more because we talking about something else. But it's just he's a headache,
Yeah.
bro. He's a headache on two wheels. He's a headache
Right.
on 2 feet.
Yeah.
But
He's
even
a
if
fucking-
Warner Brothers was good at that, the question is valid in that it's gonna come up no matter what because
Right.
of actors getting older, contracts ending, new
Right.
creative people at studios, all that.
But
stuff. So
Marvel,
But you know
Marvel has
what?
done
has-
it well.
But-
with the
but
actors getting
listen,
older.
listen.
Marvel has done.
But this is-
Marvel has set up the multiverse so that they can
play around with
introduce
it.
new iterations of
Right.
But
characters
here-
and things like
listen,
that.
listen.
DC won't even try to do that, bro.
But listen, here's the thing that we have to also understand, and again, us as comic book enthusiasts and everybody out there in the chat who loves comics, I told myself even this over the weekend, I am going to literally stop comparing DC to Marvel. I'm going to separate the two. Okay, number one, both Marvel and DC, there have been books where there is no continuity. There have been books where it's not even connected to a single universe. So we have to understand that, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here a little bit. We have to understand that with sometimes, even with them understanding that they have continuity issues and they can't basically connect the universe as well as others may have done, I do still think that there is a way to basically do it with films where they have them separate within their own little pocket universe. There's ways to do it as long as they do it well. As long as they can basically do it well, I'll try to give you the benefit. I'm not going to always agree, but I'll try to give you the benefit of the doubt. But I think at the same time,
You just have to do it well.
us
what I'm saying,
as comic book enthusiasts, we have to also separate the two, because when we're going to keep on having this argument with DC, Marvel does this, DC doesn't do this. Marvel does this, DC doesn't do that. We have to also remember that it is two separate universes, and we have to just keep it that way because we're going to even frustrate our own selves.
If
Tell
we
you the
can
truth.
enjoy
But
we are.
one-shot comic books, we can enjoy one-shot films.
That's what I was about to say. You took the word out of my mouth. I was about to say that, right? I was getting ready to say, okay, I wasn't really comparing them. I was just saying, like, I really respect the Marvel's writers and I respect their research department. I respect all that. You can't even compare it. You can't compare DC to Marvel with the movies. You can't, because we fucked up so many times with DC, right? The one shots I don't mind. I just want one part of DCEU where they have continuity, where all the films connect. I just want one project. That's it. We can make a bunch of Elseworld films. I'll enjoy them still. I'll still go see them. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, bro, can we have one? Just one? I mean, fix Snyderverse. Do something else. It's two other parts to Justice League that are on script and they're written and that are awesome, that I would love to see on film. But I'll never get it. One shots I don't mind. Elseworld stuff I don't mind. I have a bunch of Elseworld comics right in the totes. I have a bunch of one shots right in the totes. Blah 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 blah. I read them. I love them. But as a DC fan, bro, in my lifetime, before I pass away to the great and see Jesus, right? I just want to see one freaking DCEU film that just connects. I'm not asking a lot. You can still make money off your one shots, off your Elseworld stuff. That's not a lot to ask for. But they refuse. They refuse to do it. They go for the money bag all the time, bro.
Because
all
they don't
the
know how to
time.
do it.
I don't think it's they refuse to. I don't think
They don't know
they're
how to
good
do
enough.
it. They don't know how to do it.
The people at Warner Brothers
But-
are good enough to pull
And you
that off.
can't fix it. You can't fix it, bro. Like, I don't understand, bro. I don't understand, bro.
But this is what I'm saying though. The Dark Knight. When we look at basically that, when we
It's
look
it's an Elseworld.
when we look at Nolan's universe, we still enjoyed it, and it had no connection to any other hero in that universe. No connection at all. All we saw was Batman, and we still basically enjoyed that film. You know what I mean? For what
Yeah.
it was.
For what it was.
My thing is, this is where they fucked up. Excuse the
Mhm.
expression, as I said I was going to stop because I don't want to curse on here because I did
It's
get a
all
comment.
day.
I don't want to curse on
you're
here
good.
anymore. But where they kind of messed up was the simple fact that, okay, you give us Man of Steel, okay?
Mhm.
But you rushed. You leaped over the fact that you still had a narrative that you had to complete. So you didn't complete the Man of Steel universe. You just leaped into BVS because that's where you wanted to go. You knew it took, and here's not even comparing. I'm just saying it took Kevin Feige years to get to where he was. And it was years of mess ups, screw ups. A lot of things he did screw up. We have to remember that. And
Right.
but he did do it, and he brought us. But like somebody actually said in the chat, and I do kind of agree with that. Not every director wants continuity. Sometimes they just want to tell their own story. And
yeah.
I get that. And I completely understand that because they understand that sometimes it's too complex to try to tell your story and to bring other characters in because then the focus isn't on the narrative that you're trying to convey. I get that. And I completely understand it. But I also agree with the simple fact that, yes, we know that in books, in the books that we've read, there have been times where the continuity was there when we have every hero involved, and it actually has been a beautiful story told. We know that. Will we now, like for instance, I want to bring this up really quick. And the Ben Cave said this: Hamada and Emmerich are on their way out of at the WB, and those articles were puff pieces to help their job search. Don't pay any attention to them. And
tell me that's true.
That's speculation just as much as anything, though. Like we don't know.
So,
like,
but this is what I'm saying, though. Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying, though. Because we already know what's happening with the WB and where that's actually headed. But here's what I'm saying. We have to, because regardless of what I feel and how I feel about these films and how I feel about DC at home, I'm going to see every film that they release. I'm really going to go pay my ticket and see every film that they release because I'm supporting an IP that I love. I love DC. I love Marvel. I love these. I love what they actually give us. But I understand from an aspect of a reader or somebody who's invested so much. I'm more of a Marvel fan than I am DC. But, Jedi, I know that you are more of a DC fan than you are of Marvel. So I understand and I feel your pain.
I'm even
just the frustration
after the dump fire of Let There Be Carnage.
Yeah, I'm gonna still go see Morbius. I'm definitely
like,
going to see that, and I know it's pure frustration on that. But I understand it. But at the same time, I also have to respect and understand the vision that a producer is trying to convey, and I get that. And it like a director himself, he knows the direction he wants to take a story. And sometimes he wants to focus on that because, again, it's not for everybody, and it's way, way, way too much to put your hands in. But I think that someday we will get a cohesive story, a cohesive continuity issue. It won't even be there anymore. Like, we won't have to worry about that. And I think we will get it, but I think that we also have to just give it a bit more time. As much as we don't want, give it a bit more time. But things will actually happen. So that's all. I'm saying.
even like you were saying about Morbius, right? That's frustrating to me too because he's an antagonist and trying to make him a hero. Like I don't know, man. Maybe it's the era that we're in right now where antagonists are made heroes now. I mean, even in DC, Darkseid's got his own version of Justice League. Like really? So it's like everybody's flippity flopping these characters now, and it's weird. But I mean, back on Batman.
Well, you got to remember, Sony is doing that because the characters that they have the rights to, other than Spider-Man, that are the most known, are
what is it? Sinister Six, right?
Villains, or at least started out as villains, and so. But they're not going to make a movie that's just about a villain, like superhero. Like it's one thing when you do a more psychological piece like Joker. But they're not going to make a Morbius movie where he's the villain. Like they're not going to do that. Just like they wouldn't start with Venom being a villain, which is what we all want, So that's just the reality of that. Just like the reality is that Warner Brothers, I think, just does not have the talent in their studios to do what we want them to do, not just as DC fans, but also just as cinema fans, and do something that holds up under standards that aren't just comic book related, but that
if you're gonna make it
as far as storytelling goes, and as far as working with the talent that you have. So yeah, and look, that's I know some people are saying they're burnout on Marvel. Look, it's not to say that everything that Marvel has done has been great. We've all had
not by a long
hell
shot.
no. Hell no.
Yeah, not by a long shot. Captain Marvel. Oh, sorry.
But when you are, when you hit, 3 home runs in a game, nobody's going to give you shit for striking out on your 4th at bat.
True.
Right?
True.
So that's where Marvel is at. They've had a lot more hits than they have misses, and so they've earned some cred. And so maybe some of the criticisms that we levy at Marvel maybe don't seem as harsh as some of the criticisms that we level at DC. But when you look at DC, they've had a lot more swing and a miss than they have hits, and so that's it. But like, this is again still coming from people who
Hector
absolutely
is right.
love this source material.
Mm-hmm.
We love the source material, and there are things, and we've predominantly been very positive about this movie, by the way. But it's like the ones that there's a negative critique of. That's what's going to spark more conversation, because I may like something that Lael didn't really like, or Vinny hated, or Jason was like, no way, that doesn't work for me, but it worked for me, and vice versa. Like, and then we're going to debate those things and talk about those, because the shit that we love, we're gonna do, but like, then we all agree on something, so it's not going to be as long of a conversation on that front.
And one thing, real quick, on a positive note, I got a couple of positive things real quick. Number one, Vinny, did they cut you the check? Because you loaning the room to the WB, I get that, bro. You loaned the room. You lent out so many females in this film, bro. I had to commit. No, here's it though. That's just a joke. But did they cut your check though, for real?
I don't know if you've seen Lumi mentioned in the comments, but we were also talking about the mayor has been recruited too, because she was cold.
Yeah. The mayor was.
The
mayor was beautiful, bro.
She'd take that shot. She'd take that shot, get back to work. That's
right in the shoulder. Right in the shoulder, bro.
She is dope. And here's the thing. It's funny because it was funny in the theaters, bro. The funny part about it was as soon as Zoe Kravitz hit the scene, it's like I look at Vinny looks at me, I look around, and then when I turn around and look at Vinny, Toya is staring right at me. She's looking at me in my face like, yeah. I see.
I wish you would look.
I see, but no, she was like, yeah, I see you, but go ahead, you good, because she felt the same way. She's like, you good, man. Go ahead,
girl sat next to me, and when Zoe kissed Batman, I look over and she just smiled, looking at me, watching the screen, and then she leans over, she was like, another recruit for the room, right?
Yep.
Like,
yep. Like, okay, so let me ask everybody a real quick question, and everybody out in the chat, I want to ask you this question as well. This is gonna be hot, so. 66, 67 Batmobile. Hold up. 89 Batmobile. The Justice Mobile. The Tumbler. Or this Batmobile.
89.
Your favorite. Which one?
I'm going to have to go with the BVS. I'm waiting to pre-order this new one. Don't think I'm not getting it, but now, BVS.
Now, 89, but obviously it wouldn't work in this movie.
Hell no.
The Batmobile in this movie works for it. The Batmobile in 89 worked for the comic book centric movie that Burton's was. But I was 11 years old when that joint came out. That's ingrained in my DNA.
Which one?
The 89.
89 Batman. I was 11. That shit's ingrained in my DNA.
No doubt. No doubt.
You know what I mean? So much of that film is a big part of me. So
we got
every Batmobile worked for the movie it was in.
Yeah, but the 89 Batman would not survive in this movie. That's
something that's very underrated. Like, that's
you couldn't even turn a corner with the 89.
Every film's Batmobile really made sense for the
for
world
what it was.
in.
So
But if I can only
Yeah.
have one, like if I get like a Hot Toy or like a Jazz Inc. 89, man. It's
So-
just, yeah.
I
It's
got
got-
the Lego '89 Batman. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
BVS
We got the
Batmobile
Ben-
all day, baby.
Ben Cave says BVS. We got,
Yeah,
and
no doubt.
Brock says Justice Mobile. We got
Same
Vic, he
thing.
said the 89.
Can't beat
We're
them
talking
turns.
about,
Tyler
like,
said this
functional
one-
and hold up. Yeah, obviously those other later
A lot of
ones.
people are saying this
Yeah.
one.
But just your
I
favorite.
can't choose, but the Tumbler is the last one on the list.
Yeah, definitely.
The new
definitely.
2022 Batmobile. Let's see
Nah.
who we got. 1966 all day. You know
That-
what? I love the
that
66
car-
Batmobile.
It's dope, but that car would not have made it to that scene with
The
the thing. That
Batmobile,
car
I
would've
love
been
the
Oh,
classic
trash.
guys,
car
I
look.
didn't even remember to tell you this when I was in Jersey for the wedding and we were going to the after party at this bar. There was a dude driving Uber and we is pitch black at night. These guys pulling up to the bar. He had just a regular old I swear it was like an Accord or a Civic or something, right? But completely blacked out. And then had the decals going up the sides, had a thing on the back, like the dash lit up and everything. It was the '66 Batmobile, transformed, lit up.
It's on the Accord.
around. It was
That's
in an
dope.
Accord.
That's
yeah,
dope.
dude, and it was amazing.
It was the back cord.
The back
Dude,
cord.
Uber driver pulls up to this bar in Riverside.
That's
New
like a bad
Jersey,
joke.
man, and it was just we saw that thing and our jaws just dropped because
That's like a bad joke.
the car itself was probably like $10,000-$12,000.
Yeah.
That's like
But
the,
it
24s on a hoopty. It's like
Yeah,
it was
right.
transformed into the
They do it all
66
day, bro.
Batmobile, and man, we just geeked the fuck out. It was so goddamn cool.
I gotta ask y'all this.
Sorry,
man.
Lael, I didn't make a promise not to curse.
I got one question.
Yeah.
Right now the Riddler's out there, the way he looks, blah 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 blah. They mentioned Elliot, but it was not the Elliot from wasn't the Elliot that we know from Hush, right?
bro, they. Sorry,
Do you think that we have a chance to see that Hush? Because bro, that's one of my favorite villains,
But
bro. That Hush.
They even put Hush up on the screen.
You
So
think
they
we're gonna
put
get the
up
Hush?
on the screen.
I think that
I feel like they wasted
the
it.
character of Hush,
How?
Thomas
How?
Elliot,
How?
is going to be this guy's son, that journalist
Okay.
in the movie that
It
died
would
because
have to
he
tie
was
in
like
because it
Edward
was
Elliot or something, or I can't remember. It started with an E.
Because
I think
that
it
Elliot
Edward.
was a Riddler's dad, right? It was a Riddler's dad. The
No,
reporter.
No, the journalist wasn't Riddler's dad. The Riddler.
I thought he said it was his
just one of-
dad.
No, the Riddler was just one of the kids
Oh, the renewal
in the
kids?
orphanage.
One of the
yeah,
kids
he
in the
was just
orphanage.
one of the kids in the orphanage.
Yeah.
I think that Thomas Elliot, who we know as Hush in the comics,
He's
is
rich.
going
They're
to
rich.
be the son of the reporter that refused to bury the story about Martha
And that was murdered.
and was killed, and
Okay.
that's
Oh,
going
yeah.
to be their version of why he kind of goes after. Because they alluded to Hush multiple times in this movie.
Yeah,
they
bro.
literally had it say Hush, like Vinny said. On
Yeah,
the,
it said Hush
screen,
on the
like, when he
wall,
was
on the
going through.
screen. Mhm.
And
Yeah.
they made it almost seem before we realized and before Batman realized that Riddler didn't actually know that he was Bruce Wayne, but we thought he knew.
Dude, you
right?
see his face, dog, on that scene, bro. He almost shit
yes,
his
but
pants.
so before that though, when we see Riddler as like the kid in that news article in that clipping, right?
Yeah.
They were making it seem like okay, they're gonna kind of take Hush and put that into the Riddler, and
Right.
make the Riddler as the kid growing up as like
Hush.
the mirror to Bruce.
Yeah.
But then we realized that wasn't the case. But when you look at the reporter's name, Elliot, and then they put Hush on the screen, I do think that now whether or not they do it in this next movie or whether or not that was just a tease to see if they want to do that down the road, I do think the idea here is that the Thomas Elliot we know as Hush would be that reporter's kid, and then that through line of because remember in the comics they did change on a couple of occasions it from Martha Kane to Martha Arkham and have
Martha
her
Arkham, yeah.
backstory being one and raised in what became the Arkham Asylum, and her mother killed her dad and everything like that. So there is that, and that's basically what they kind of teased in this, talking about her mental health and breakdowns and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I do think that they're kind of pulling those elements together for this kind of universe that Matt Reeves.
But they're gonna have to flip their
And-
whole relationship though between Bruce
But
and,
you know
and,
what?
and Elliot though, because they were best friends as kids.
Y'all forgetting something though.
What?
With them basically introducing the Waynes and Arkham. There's a much
the game.
Well,
deeper.
we're gonna get the Court of Owls.
Exactly.
That's
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
happen.
There's a
yeah.
much
That's
deeper.
You gotta have
there's a
Dick Grayson,
deeper
too.
because they're planting that seed too much. They're
Pattinson
they
even
plant
What's
said
that
weird
seed
about the
way
Court
too
of
much.
Owls is
You gotta
when they
have
did
Dick Grayson.
What's weird about the Court of Owls, though, is when they did the Court of Owls story, I think one of the reasons why it was so impactful was because there was already 70+ years of DC history. Where
Yeah.
we didn't know anything about the fucking Court of Owls, and it was
Right.
crazy that they
Right.
were
Yeah.
behind the scenes for so long. It was kind of like on some
Yeah.
Hail Hydra shit, but we always knew about Hail Hydra.
They
It was-
shout
it
him
was-
out
it
in
was
the
like
low so many
they
times.
swerved.
bro.
It was like they swerved us. It kind of reminded me of like the Paul Jenkins Stan Lee swerve with Sentry, where like it was something that was in the background the whole time, and like they
Yep.
just let the fans in on it.
Right.
So it was really impressive having the Court of Owls be that story, because it was like, wow, they're so Illuminati that you've never
Right.
heard them mentioned ever before. So I
Right,
feel like
right,
it's
right.
Yeah.
And that
Early?
storyline is only about 10 years old, and
Right.
it's become so iconic.
It's so iconic.
Yeah.
It was just done so well. It was so creepy, so dark. Talon was
Yeah.
instantly one of the biggest threats Batman had ever faced.
Ever
and yet,
faced.
And we know
Yeah.
that they're a massive part of the
But
upcoming
see-
Gotham Knights video game. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
and Robert Pattinson has said that he wants to explore the Court
I
of Owls.
feel like it's
in
too
this.
early, but at the same time,
But-
it fits in the type of world that they've set up.
That they set up
100%,
already.
yeah.
Yeah. Real quick.
Well,
real
you
quick,
gotta
though.
have- you
All
gotta
there.
have
we
Grayson,
were all
though.
in that mindset.
Real quick. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna do this. Another question, everybody.
Mm.
Lee Merriweather, Eartha Kitt, Holly Berry,
Ooh.
Julie Newman,
Newmar.
Anne Hathaway.
This
Zoe
ain't right.
Kravitz.
You're not right for this, bro.
You didn't even say
No.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer. How'd you leave
Michelle Pfeiffer.
off?
I said
Yeah,
Michelle
that's
Pfeiffer's
right
in
out.
it. Michelle Pfeiffer's in it. She's in it. So
You ain't right for this question, dog.
so
You can't pick this one.
again,
dog.
I'm gonna say it again, right off the top, so everybody out in the chat.
I don't know.
Lee
dog.
Merriweather,
I don't wanna
Eartha Kitt,
answer.
Julie Newman, Holly Berry,
Newmar.
Michelle Pfeiffer, Anne Hathaway,
Dang.
Zoe Kravitz.
Michelle Pfeiffer. Let me see.
I loved Michelle's
Wow.
suit so much, but
Her suit was dope.
But I'm risking it all for Zoe.
I have to say, like I said, Eartha was the one for me for years. But Halle, if Halle would have had a better movie, she would have been like the queen. But it has to be Zoe, man. Like right now, like it's just Zoe has such a balance of Selena and Catwoman in this movie. Like you just can't. Right now, she's unfathomed, bro. She needs a better suit. She needs a better suit. But
Okay.
I have to say Zoe, dog. It hurts to
Okay.
even say that, but I have to give it to
Okay.
her.
So I'm gonna say it's just gonna be hard for me. So I'm just gonna say
Yeah.
my top three. I'm gonna say my top three because I
Oh,
can't.
you just picked three? Oh,
I'm
you ain't
picking
said
my
you could
top
pick
three.
bro.
I didn't say yo. I
He's
just said
changing it up.
I'm picking my top three.
How's he
Okay.
gonna change it up when he goes?
Wait.
You wrong.
Because
You
I'm
wrong.
I was
not
gonna put
going.
them in order.
I'm
I was gonna
pick-
put them in order.
I'm taking my top three. Okay.
Yeah, he wrong
Okay.
for that.
If you want to
I
put
got-
them in order, so I'll put them in order of the
Put
ones
yours in
that
order
I
first.
feel.
I'll go last. Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna put them in order. Okay.
My top three.
So
my top three.
now, mind you, I'm gonna tell you this right off the back. Okay. So Holly Berry is gonna be last for me. I'm sorry, and
Man,
people
you
might
wild.
disagree.
Rightfully so.
You
Rightfully
wild.
so.
She's
The
gonna
movie
be last
sucks,
for me.
not her.
She's gonna be last for me, and
You
because I
wild.
have to go off a portrayal, so she's gonna be last. I'm sorry. Okay.
Oh, Betrayal. Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Then I'm gonna actually follow it up with Anne Hathaway. Okay. I'm sorry. This is my opinion.
What? That's a low.
No. I'm gonna follow it up with Anne Hathaway because you got to follow where I'm going though with this. Then I'm gonna actually
right.
say Michelle Pfeiffer. Okay. So that's basically I'm just following my lead here.
Ooh.
Then I'm gonna actually say Lee Merriweather. Then I'm gonna actually say Julie Newmar, Eartha Kitt, Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah,
That's my
that. You
lineup.
gotta have Eartha Kitt at least number 2.
That's my lineup.
Yeah.
And I'm sticking to it. Vinny,
Go ahead, Vinny. Go ahead.
You
I'm
go.
going last.
Zoe, Pfeiffer, Kit, Newmar, Merriweather, Hathaway, Berry.
You doing all? Well, I think we're doing top 3. You doing all of
Do
them?
whatever you
Oh.
want. You do whatever you want. You do whatever you want.
There you go.
All right, I'm doing top 3.
okay.
All right.
Okay.
Michelle Pfeiffer is just for me is number one.
She's still flawless though, bro.
She's great. Now, and so number 2 for me is Zoe.
Yeah.
And I think they both have different strengths in that Michelle Pfeiffer, I think, was a great Catwoman, and I think Zoe was a great Selena.
Yeah.
I think this version, she hasn't fully become Catwoman yet.
Not
she's
yet.
Like on the way, but she's not there yet. But I like her version of Selena way better than the Selena from Returns. But so for me, it's Catwoman as Michelle Pfeiffer, then Zoe definitely, and that's very close. And she could maybe overtake it in subsequent movies. We'll see. But the door is definitely open for that.
All right. So now I get to renege. Because I know we could pick more than one.
So after all right. So we got Michelle, then we got Zoe, then
I'm getting four.
It's Julie Newmar for me. Then it's Lee Merriweather.
You put Eartha Kitt that low for real?
I did.
You are bugging.
Eartha Kitt was not my cat. I didn't vibe with her.
What? Oh my god! But that's okay because that's your opinion, so I'll give you that.
All right, so Julie Newmar, Lee Merriweather, Anne Hathaway.
You are bugging.
Eartha Kitt.
Oh my god! But
and then Halle Berry. Okay. And it pains me. Eartha Kitt was just not. I liked the stuff.
She was perfect.
She was great as a campy one, but the purr and stuff was a little too much for me, even in the.
Are you serious,
bro? That's the signature, and everybody tries to copy that, bro.
I know it's controversial. I know.
Brendan is tonight. He is tripping, bro.
But
you've been hanging with Coolio too long,
this is a great list. So
he said she's no Coolio.
Yeah,
he says she's no
Coolio. The list is still like really good, except Halle Berry. And it pains me to say I love Halle Berry, but that movie was trash. But also her performance in it was also trash.
Oh man!
So Halle Berry is at the. Here's the thing, the whole list, 1 through however many there were on there, right until Halle Berry.
He said, "Butt naked, get out."
Butt naked, get out.
He said, "Get out."
Bloodsport, butt naked. What?
See,
hey, man.
see.
Yo,
I would say Eartha Kitt's at the bottom.
Bro, you
no. Halle's at the bottom. Halle Berry's at the bottom.
But you put Eartha Kitt like right there, almost with her.
That don't make no sense, though.
Yeah, but that's like 1 through 7 is great. And then 8 is shit, but 1 through 7 are all top tier.
He went on the deep end.
Brendan, motherfucker likes Yo, I'm surprised Coolio did not make the
list. Hey, man, we give him a shot. You never know. He could do it.
I wasn't a fan of Eartha either, sorry, but she's definitely better than Holly.
Eartha is 100%. But I'm not saying Eartha Kitt is a better actress than Halle Berry, but she was a much better Catwoman. And again, like it's not just like it wasn't just that the movie was bad. It's that also everything that Halle Berry did, and maybe it's because with the lines and everything she was given was bad. But it wasn't like, oh, Halle Berry was good. It's just the rest of the movie was bad. Halle Berry was doo-doo stew in that movie. She looked hot, but she didn't look like a good Catwoman. She looked like a dominatrix that like had nothing to do with Catwoman.
All Catwomen look like dominatrix, except for Anne Hathaway.
No, the costume even they had her wear. No.
Man,
no.
Listen,
I'll give that. Jedi, what you got, bro? What you got?
This boy. I'm going with
Brendan,
Zoe.
Man.
Zoe number 1.
Eartha.
What you going with? Okay.
Eartha Kitt is 2.
Yeah.
Michelle is 3. Anne Hathaway is 4.
If you have Halle anywhere but last.
Halle is 5. That's my 5th one. That's number 5 for me. But Zoe and
Julie
Newmar
on that list
over Lee Merriweather and Julie Newmar.
I ain't even counting them, bro. My top 5. I done told you. My top 5. And I put Halle in the right spot.
That's ridiculous.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
You got Halle Berry in there.
Halle Berry. The movie sucked, but I'm giving her the points for the looks. Points for looks.
Yeah.
I don't care about talent when it came to her. I don't care about talent when it came to her. When it came to her, I don't care about talent. She's number 5.
Man.
See, you're disqualified.
We
You just
can't-
said I don't
Listen,
care about
no.
telling them quality
Hector B,
movie.
Hector B, we can't include animated. No, bro. No, I got you, Hector, bro. I was going to include it, but it just don't count. The visual, bro. The visual.
Actually, Zoe has played Catwoman twice now. Because Zoe
know.
was the voice of Catwoman in the Lego movie.
Nah, for real?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah.
She has
That's
been
what's
the
up.
character twice now.
And I
Well,
got beef. I got
Zoe
beef
and
with
Earth
Christopher
are 1 and
Nolan
2,
too.
bro.
I got some beef with Christopher Nolan too, because he slipped up.
Why?
That was a casting director. It wasn't
Hathaway?
Nolan
Well,
never
it was
even
a
saw
casting director,
Mhm.
but Nolan could have actually fought for it as well, though, bro.
Well, but he didn't
coulda.
know. He didn't
Yeah.
even know until like
Casting.
nope.
So she basically auditioned for
No,
The
she
Dark
never
Knight
did.
Rises.
She didn't get to. They wouldn't let her.
They wouldn't let her do it because they said it wasn't urban. They weren't going to urban direction. They didn't even have to say that shit, bro. Yeah, that
He
that
said
shit.
Zoe
That,
wasn't
Send
urban
you
enough?
back.
no.
No,
They said they
she-
weren't
they
going.
said she was urban.
Said she
and they
was
didn't want
urban.
She was urban, and they weren't going that direction.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we ain't talking about the 70s. We talking about the 2000s.
2000.
Yeah, bro.
Nine.
Wow.
Yeah,
What a
No,
kick
again-
in the balls that was.
That was
That's
a casting
crazy.
director.
the casting
or a
director
casting
did
director's
that.
assistant. It wasn't Christopher Nolan.
It wasn't
And so-
Nolan. It was basically.
The
but I got
assistant.
beef because they could have fought for her. But
They
you
coulda-
know,
yeah.
it is what it is.
Well, but the thing
It
is,
is.
if it never comes to Christopher Nolan's attention that hey, this actress is pretty good and she wanted to, and it wasn't
And
even for
casting
Catwoman, it was
directors
for a
can be
different role.
they can definitely be assholes. So trust me.
Oh,
when
yeah.
you-
And
I know that
Matt
for a
Reeves
fact.
was like, "I got room for you over here.
I got room for
Come
you.
over here." The casting
Listen.
director's like, "We got room for you over here," and nailed it.
Yo, she moved around like a cat and everything, bro. She beat Eartha for me, and that took a lot.
Did you hear
to
she
beat
said
Eartha
that
Kitt.
she drank milk out of a bowl like a cat for like a couple
Dude,
months leading up to
she
the movie?
moved-
I was
every
like,
day.
that's a little much.
Bro,
but, okay.
she got the character down.
Vinny got
pat to
proof.
me, bro.
I said it out every day.
Yeah. That boy Vinny off the chain.
Bro, you know in my mind, I'm thinking about that Pootie Tang scene, bro.
Slide it on out.
Just slide it on
Wow,
out, bro.
he brought out Pootie Tang.
Yeah, bro.
With the belt.
Pootie Tang. But listen, yo,
What did
we're
y'all?
almost.
Yeah.
I got
Y'all
I got a
boys
question before you
stupid,
cut
bro.
out though.
What's the question?
I feel like, despite all the stuff I've read about this movie this weekend,
Mhm.
I feel like I've almost heard absolutely no one talk about Joker, which was horrible to me. I hated that little
Yeah,
scene. That
I,
it was just such a waste.
Riddle
It felt
me
like
this.
such a
I was
throwaway.
trying to skip that.
Y'all asked me
Like
about
such
it,
a
and
throwaway.
y'all asked me about it, and I was like, just wait.
No, I asked you if there was after.
Oh.
Yo, I asked you if there was after credits, and you
But that
wouldn't
no
tell me.
after
We
credit,
said-
I wouldn't tell you. That shit was whack. It wasn't even
No,
what to
but
talk about.
that scene in
It was whack.
that cell was.
Yeah,
It was whack.
I just
It was
think I think they were. I don't think they have it fully fleshed out what they would want to do, and so
Yeah. They
should've
then I
done
think
nothing.
it led to them
They just made up
doing
something.
that.
Look at me on my
that
YouTube.
It didn't work.
Now let me ask you a question.
I'm
Do you
still
think
not-
Matt Reeves wanted to do it, or do you think he was pushed to do it?
No, he
He
wanted
had
to
to
do
have
it.
been pushed to do it. That looked
I
like a
don't know.
throwaway. That looked like a throwaway if I've ever seen a throwaway.
Throwaway
It-
film.
Because for Joker, you're not going to cast nobody, and I don't think it was any particular actor, so you're not going to get a no name to be Joker.
No,
Can I-
that was Druig.
Can I
From
point out
Eternals.
something funny? Can I point out something funny
Yeah,
real
that's
It
Druig
quick?
wasn't even an
from Eternals.
interesting take on him. It was just horrible.
Let me point out something funny. One thing funny. But we talking real world, separated the comic, no comic book, like Lyle was saying earlier, right? Do you know that Gotham City got flushed out by some Twitter followers?
What?
To be honest, they were like Twitter followers. They're following the Riddler, right?
Yeah, and he
His
only had like
followers.
500 followers,
500
bro.
followers.
It's like, come
Yeah.
on, bro, really?
500
So-
followers
Damn.
took out Gotham City.
My kid's not even on social media. She's got more than 500 followers.
It was really weird. Like you're used to hearing
500.
Just
a
think
Batman
about
villain
that,
be
though,
like,
bro.
This isn't the end, Batman, but like now we have Batman villains that be like,
Mhm.
don't forget to like and
Gotham
subscribe.
City almost got killed by Twitter followers. Bro.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. That's funny.
That's
Yeah.
It's comical if you think about it. Real
Yeah.
talk. Like Twitter followers almost took out a whole city.
Yeah, that's true. That's
yeah, you would
definitely
think
true.
Riddle
that
me
you
this.
had to have thousands of followers to get 20 to show up.
Come on, bro.
Crazy. Listen, I'm gonna cut it short
Riddle me
tonight.
this.
But it was a great discussion, man. I had fun with this shit. It was fun as hell. I could honestly, this is the first discussion where I think that all of us damn near practically agree. You know what I mean? Like literally, almost we had different vantage points, but we damn near practically agreed. So that was dope. I do want to point out this super chat real quick. Superhero displays $1.79 super chat.
Zoe
Zoe
Kravitz
Kravitz
is fire.
Yes, she is, bro. She is fire. In Hot Toys, if you mess around,
they have not announced
play
it
if
yet.
you want to.
Dog.
Play
they
if you want to.
Announced it yet.
Play if you want to.
See,
play
I
around
told you
with me
last
if you want
week.
to.
I told you last week. What I tell you? If they don't announce that shit by the following Monday, it's gonna be a problem. You watch.
Yeah.
You watch. I told you, bro. No Kravitz. I don't see Catwoman.
We're gonna see. Anyway, guys, everybody, thank y'all guys for coming tonight. It's been a great night. I love this, tonight. Everybody out in the chat, thank y'all for supporting this episode. This was Batman, the Batman whole thing. Look, all in a nutshell, I enjoyed the film. I loved it. I did really, despite like certain things, I loved the film. Aesthetically, it was great, and it gave me the feels that I wanted. So I'm cool with that. I'm really cool with that. Oh yeah, Hector, you damn right. You damn right. Queen Studios will save us. They will save us. They will save us.
Just
come on,
Leo,
don't say nothing, Brendan. Don't say nothing, Brendan.
What's up,
Brendan?
On that point, I'm very excited about Queen Studios getting into the 1/6 realm. One thing I will say, somebody with direct knowledge and communication with them has told me that the Warner Brothers license is for China only. And that they will have license for Dune and some other anime projects, properties that will most likely be US. But the Warner Brothers stuff, so that means, not that we really care about like the Matrix and but that one and the Heath Ledger, all that stuff, anything Warner Brothers, that is only in China, which
it's gonna
means
bleed over here.
if we want to get them, I mean, you can still get them, but if we want to get them, you're gonna have to go to a reseller. You're gonna have to go to 1/6 Kit. You're gonna have to go to Pop Collectibles or Toys Wonderland or Toys Buying Agent, something like that, to get them. They're not gonna be going through Sideshow. They're not gonna be going through Cinema Ket, which is Queen Studios' U.S. based distributor for like certain things that they have licenses for over here. So. Also, they just announced this. These things are going to take a while to matriculate to come into us. So we will be able to get them, but there are going to be caveats, like you're not going to be getting them at your local comic book shop. These are going to be.
So it's business as usual for me.
So
to be quite honest,
we're not going to get Zoe Kravitz.
The kind of thing is, if you're one of those people who doesn't mind paying a premium and ordering from overseas to get stuff faster rather than waiting and going through like a Sideshow or something like that, then you're just going to continue to do that with whatever Queen Studios produces. If you're one of the people who tends to wait for a lower price and you're willing to wait on like a Sideshow or something, you're going to have a decision to make whether or not you want to do that and not get these, or you want to go the international route in order to get your hands on them.
True. But anyway, I'm just happy about it in general. So
absolutely.
We'll see. But tune in. We'll talk about that some other time. Vinny, what's going on, bro? What you got going over there at Vincent Dunn Art? What you working on?
I'm just working on hopefully I'm done this joint by this week, and then I could show you guys soon. Just working on a big, super time-consuming mural that hopefully I have done soon, and then just catching up on some more reading, and then landscaping season will be upon us next week, so I'm gearing up, getting everything ready for that, and back to warmer weather and
season.
What's that?
Recruiting season.
Anybody who complains about the heat has never been involved in recruiting because it makes it so much easier. Now, I'm looking forward to better weather.
You shot out, dog. You think you slick. You can't get by me with that one. You off the chain, boy.
If you haven't already subscribed,
slick as hell. God damn.
Make sure you do that. Please make sure you do that.
Boy, shout out, boy.
Jedi Kid, what you got going on?
I don't know what to say
don't even
after
know what
this
to say
dude,
now.
bro.
He's like,
I
nah.
can't even say nothing. This dude, bro, like
Oh,
between
man.
Brendan and this cat right here, bro. Y'all.
I didn't do shit.
I can't tonight.
I didn't do shit.
It's the first night you ain't really do shit. I'm surprised. I'm actually
Show ain't over
shocked.
yet, bro. This show ain't over
Yeah,
yet.
but we got a couple minutes left. We
Yeah.
gonna do something before this hell with this bitch. Oh my god, man.
Mhm.
Just like I said, I gotta look for this stuff before this bar. Trying to get a couple of my figures. And what the hell?
Keep going.
Bro, pass.
He said
Pass, bro.
You passing it off.
I can't deal with this dude, dog.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm done, bro. Just mute my mic, dog. This dude.
Bro, what you got going on, man? What you got going on, bro?
Not much. Just catching up on some movies,
Taking
and
pictures
some
of Coolio.
books and stuff like that. So just to give you guys all a heads up, and before we leave in the chat, just drop down whatever your homework was. Remember, you're supposed to
I'm in tears,
read at least one new comic book. So drop in the chat what you read. All right. This last week, though, there were some highs and lows for Marvel. I liked the new Strange #1. It's an interesting direction they're going in for right now, so that was pretty cool. So check that out. And then really good Captain America and Iron Man. The Daredevil Woman Without Fear with Elektra and Kraven and stuff. Read that book. Like, read the other two before. Read this book. It was really, really cool. It sets up some good stuff that's about to happen next week, or this week actually, in Devil's Reign with Daredevil. It also sets up something with another character in the comics that will kick off next week. This week actually. So definitely check that out. It is a really good book, great art style, absolutely love it. I was very disappointed, unfortunately, with What If Miles Morales became Captain America. I'm hoping they course correct. It's actually going to be like a 5-issue thing that carries through each issue. But the first one I was really, really disappointed with, and I was not expecting that. So that kind of sucked. But next week we've got Devil's Reign #5. We also have a couple more tie-ins. We've got the Superior 4 tie-in and a Moon Knight tie-in to Devil's Reign that should be pretty cool. We've got the first issues of Captain Carter and the Spider-Gwen Gwenverse that are kicking off. And then there's also issue #1 of the new Punisher 8-part miniseries that I think is going to be pretty significant in terms of the direction that character is going to be going in after the 8 issues are up. So definitely be on the lookout for that. All that stuff drops Wednesday, and that's just Marvel, because I'm focused on catching up with all my Marvel stuff, and I'm slowly working my way up to DC. So then I'll start getting to new DC releases. But right now there's a lot of cool shit happening in Marvel, so definitely check those out.
Dope.
That's dope.
So if you haven't already followed Brendan Max Effect, Max Effort Collector, and Real Raleigh on Instagram, definitely you want to do that. Again, if you haven't already, subscribe to the 1/6 Scale Man YouTube channel. I mean, we try to bring you some dope quality over there. So, definitely, make sure you actually, subscribe and make your way over here on this team. Again, Comic Book Talk with Friends will be back with you next week. Same time, for another discussion as we prepare for, we got Moon Knight coming at the end of the month, so we got to prepare for that definitely. But we'll have some more discussions coming at y'all next week. So thanks everybody for basically being here. Let me address the chat slowly real quick. I'm not pulling up that damn picture. I'm too tired. Tobar, we got SpongeBob SquareBalls, Michael Rodriguez in the building, Luminar. Thank you for coming through. Bloodsport, as always. Let me see here. Michael Rodriguez. Let's see here. We got Hector V. Thank you for coming through, Hector. We had the Bing Cave. My God, the Bing Cave. Renz Talentino, as always. We got, let's see here. Mark 7, the issue. Thank you for coming through, brother. We got to get you on here, man. Barrett. We got, let's see, Derek Sandoval. We got Tyler in the building. Oaf Walker was here. Thank you for coming through. We had let's see here, Superhero Displays was in the building. Thank you for being here. Who else we got? Big Blue, thank you for coming through as always. Marvel Us Reviews, thank you for coming through. Or US Reviews, I'm sorry. Let's see here. CM Brock 1, thank you for coming through. Calvin Williams, thank you for being here as always. CM Brock, let's see here. Did we say SpongeBob Square Bows? Thank you for coming through.
Oh, man. I don't know if you mentioned this, Lar Powell, but they also just dropped something that everybody should remember too. That DMZ on HBO Max is going to.
Oh, I saw that commercial for that.
Rosario Dawson.
Yeah,
that's based on a DC and Vertigo graphic novel. But the trailer that they dropped today, I know Vinny doesn't watch trailers and stuff, so you probably haven't seen this. But the trailer that they just dropped looks great. I think that show has a lot of potential.
Yeah,
it's going to be on HBO Max.
But I didn't know
HBO Max.
Show.
Yeah, it's a DC.
And Rosario Dawson's in it.
Yeah, she's the lead, and it's got like Benjamin Bratt and a bunch of others too. It's supposed to
Rosario's enough.
Did the series start today?
No,
it started today.
No.
Just a trailer.
Yeah,
it's just the trailer. The first.
I'm gonna watch it after I get off here.
Next week.
Yeah, it's dope. It looks dope.
March
They're in New York.
St. Patrick's Day, so I'm not gonna watch it.
The 17th.
But St. Patrick's Day, so I'll watch it the next day. But yeah, March 17th it drops.
Okay.
All right, cool.
All right, so I gotta watch the trailer after I get done with this. I know Vinny won't, but I will. I just said Doctor Strange. I said Doctor Strange. I didn't say. Anyway, ladies man, 0217. Thank you for basically being the ladies man. We have
doing it in the butt.
Yeah, right. Christopher Bouchard is in the building. Leon Walker, thank you for coming through as always. We had Hector V in here. Christopher, yeah, we said Christopher Bouchard. We had my man 6 Scale Reviews, my man Dan and Dre was in the building. Thank y'all for coming through. Negative, thank you for basically being here. Who else we got? Man, we had quite a few people come through. If I haven't said your name, my baby Latoya T, my daughter Skylar, thank you for coming through, baby girl. So proud of you. Raised you well. Let me see here. We got
Vic was here.
So 17. Vic was in the building. Thank you, Vic, for coming through. My guy.
Sos was in here too.
Yeah, Sos was in here. I just said Sos was actually in here.
Yeah.
Zarina Moyard. We had Amber was in the building. Thank you, Amber, for coming through. Let's see here. Yeah, man, quite a few were actually your vibes was in here. Appreciate everybody. If I haven't said your name, always love having everybody here. Lar Powell was in the building. Thank you guys for coming through as always. Come on, man. You know what time it is. It's Comic Book Talk with Friends every Monday. We will be here. We will always have something to talk to. Coolio will probably be here next episode, so stay tuned for that. We're going to have Coolio live in the building. We're going to have Brendan interview him. So definitely. Thanks everybody for coming through as always, man. We love y'all, and as always, geek out, talk about comics and everything else. We are out. Peace.